double-edged sword, you're right.
Yeah.
With my character, my protagonist, he has power, but he doesn't just use it willy-nilly. He doesn't wanna be defined by it. He wants to earn it. He wants it to have purpose, and he's also afraid of becoming dependent on it.
At this time, Dave, I want you to paint a picture of your latest book cover. Kind of give us the people who haven't seen it yet. I want you to share with us what's the cover, how'd you come up with the cover, and is that a big part of what you do, creating the covers of your books?
I am not, visually creative. I
Mhm.
don't I mean, I've been known to draw and paint by numbers is fun, but I hired a professional cover designer to create my images, and because my, second book is a lot of my character trying to run from who he is while he's pretty much being chased and pursued by everybody across the realm, there's this sense of danger that's ever present. There's a lot of wilderness in my booklets. And so my picture is has that dark atmosphere in a forested area, looking up towards the heavens through the crowns of the trees. We see a dragon flying overhead, and it's not necessarily there is a dragon in my book, but it's not a main pivotal character. It's more about the threat and the danger and the ominous. You're being hunted, you're being searched for, and do you keep running? Do you keep hiding? Or do you turn and face it?
Beautiful. I'm gonna ask you something that's kind of off the cuff. You go by JM. Not very many women use their initials, but you do. Very proud of it.
Mhm.
Go ahead. Why did you start doing that? And did that come where because it was easier, or how do you come to use JM all the time?
So, it some for one point would be anonymity.
Okay. Oh,
I mean,
okay. Yeah.
anybody asks me my name, I will tell them my name is Jennifer. I'm not trying to, like, hide who I am. I do know that there's a lot of women who write in the fantasy genre, who write
Okay.
romantasy, and my book is not a romantasy. I'm old school. I love the adventures elements. There is some romance pieces in there, but there's no spicy romance. And I didn't want people to see a female author writing in a fantasy genre and expect it to be a romantasy.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. So your books, emotion plays a role in storytelling, like I mentioned earlier. Okay. Do you start writing and you start seeing things, or when you're getting ready to start putting pencil to paper, do you get emotional about stuff? Because I listen to different songs, I hear different stories like yourself, and I can get teary eyed. I can get emotional.
Mhm.
Is that something you do as you go? Say, okay, I'm going to write this, and maybe you start thinking about this, and all of a sudden you get a little. Your hairs are standing up. You get a little emotional. Is that something you go through for the process of writing the emotion?
Absolutely. There's been some chapters where I'm bawling my eyes out as I'm reading it because I've fallen in
Yeah,
love with these characters and I'm in their heads. I can feel what
yeah,
they're feeling. I do try to, it's very difficult to write a really upbeat and happy chapter if you're
yeah,
feeling really stressed. So I do
yeah.
try to, whether that means watching puppy videos on YouTube or something, to get myself in a happy mood, in order to write those. Same reason you can't it's difficult to write a happy chapter if you're feeling sad. You need to be in that right frame of mind. Music is a good tool. Music will help me to a lot of times get into that, feel the rhythm. I love the music that you were playing. It was very good. I was actually going to make a note about, or gonna make a note and mention that the music you were choosing was lovely. It was very
Yeah,
heartfelt
yeah,
and inspiring.
yeah,
Another reason why emotions are so important is whether you're writing a sci-fi and you're flying through space or you're writing a fantasy and maybe you're riding on the back of a dragon, people have never, there are very few people who have ever ridden in a spaceship, or I don't think there's anybody who's ridden on the back of a dragon, but you can feel the emotions and relate to those. You can know that exhilaration, you can know that fear. So that is what is important in each chapter, in each book, to connect people to my characters and my stories.
outstanding. Our special guest today is J.M. Shaw. J.M., where do we go after this show to learn more about you, read some of your bio, and buy your books? Where do we go?
Check out my website, jmshawauthor.com. I have descriptions of my books. There's links to them online. They're available as a print on Amazon. They're all on Kindle. The first two are on Kobo. The rest will be eventually, or Barnes. There's also links to Barnes and Noble as well if you want to get an ebook copy of my book. I have Facebook and Instagram links on the bottom of my website and a Goodreads link so you can see what other people are saying about my books.
Outstanding. I'm going to ask you this, and sometimes I get great no's and sometimes go, yeah, okay. What's your thoughts right now on AI? What's it doing to the visionaries like yourself who love writing? Talk a little bit about AI.
Yeah, AI is a tool,
Yeah.
and as long as we're using it as a tool, then I think it's fine. I use AI as a thesaurus. Like I will put in, I need an alternative word to blah, or I need a word that means this and this. You know, I don't know how to spell this word, and I'll spell it approximately what I think, and it'll correct me. And so, a dictionary. I have dyslexia, so I do tend to
Hmm.
miss words sometimes, and I will miss those little article words. So I have my computer read it back to me, which is a derivative of AI.
Yeah.
It's the problem happens when people start getting AI to write for them. I want to be the creative one. I don't want to have a computer program to do that for me. That is what I want to do. It's my passion. I would love to have an AI that would figure out how to budget my finances or make my plan my
Yeah.
meals and stuff. That would be
Yeah.
easier. But the
Yeah.
creative aspect is what I want to do. And as long as people stick to that and they realize that AI is a tool and only use it as a tool instead of, getting it to work for them, then things will be okay. Unfortunately, there's people out
Yeah.
there that will,
Yeah.
take the easy route and get the computer and the AIs to write stuff for them.
Well said. Okay. So we're going to put your show probably on our Roku channel. Have you thought
Okay.
about putting your series in a TV format, in a series format on TV? Because I think it'd be wonderful because there's people who like to see things and people like to read things. What's your thoughts on going and doing a series if you could on TV?
I I have no qualms about it, and a lot of people have said that when they're reading my books, they can see it playing out in their head.
Yeah.
And I tell them, I said, "Yeah, me too. When I'm writing, I see it as a movie in my head. I don't have to pay for those special effects."
Yeah.
If Netflix or somebody approached me and said, "Hey, let's put your book and your book series onto a TV or the big screen," I'd say, "Yay, let's go for it."
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
The whole thing when I talk to a lot of authors is that, you put so much time in writing the book, but it's even harder to be a screenwriter. So that's
Hmm.
usually what's yeah, that's real hard for us to get at that next level is the screenwriting part. Very timely, very hard, but we're gonna
Yes.
do it. We'll get it. We'll figure something out.
Oh, yes.
Okay, every writer has a unique creative process. Now you've kind of explained some of it. What other unique creative processes do you have? Are you a morning person, afternoon, after kids go to bed, in the evening, after you've done things all week? When does JM feel the most creative to start putting things down?
When it's quiet, when I don't have a big mess around me. A lot of times my writing is done after my husband or my kids are gone at school and I'm at
Mhm.
home and it's quiet after I've run through the house and done my chores and I got nothing else waiting for me. That's when I'll sit down with my coffee and my laptop and I'll start writing. And unfortunately, that's usually the time when somebody's coming to the door with a delivery or somebody's ringing you up or the
Yeah.
email's dinging in the background and I get
Yeah.
distracted very easily. So,
I
yeah.
gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Walk us through. You did that any unconventional methods you use or anything else? I mean, you kind of explained that the house has got to be quiet. Everything's got to be clean. So that's unusual where you got to clean up first before you sit down. So that's pretty cool. Anything else that you can share? I mean, talk to other beginning authors. Talk to them. Tell them, share with them that, hey, don't procrastinate.
Mhm.
But do what you gotta do and then sit down and go for it. Is it you write you said to yourself, I gotta write 1 chapter today when I sit down," or you just let it flow?
I kind of let it flow. There's also natural ebbs and, breaks in
Yeah.
scenes. And I will try to set a goal for myself. I don't necessarily make it a strict goal. I've got to do 2,000 words or 1,000
Right.
words a day, because then if I don't meet it, then I become discouraged. A lot of time, like I suffer from writer's block just like
Mhm.
everybody else.
Yeah.
For me, if I can, usually it's an environmental source. Like I've got a huge to-do list, or the dishes are screaming at me to be done. So if I can figure out what's causing it or what's stressing me out, and I can deal with that, then it usually helps me to get back to creativeness. I also, when I'm struggling with sorting my thoughts out for a chapter, I'm like you. I like to listen to music. So I'll put my headphones on and I will leave the house and I will go for a walk and I will let my thoughts play out, like I said, like a movie in my head, and I will run through different ideas and they'll always take me somewhere new.
Yeah.
Um, you know, Sometimes it's somewhere great where I'm like, wow, that's a great idea. That came out of my head. Or sometimes it's, what is wrong with me? That came out of my head. But
Yeah.
I'll just leave the house and go for a walk and let my
Mhm.
mind wander without edits. And I come back and my husband will ask me, he's like, wow, where you were gone for a while. Where did you go? I said, I have no idea, but you should have seen the story that was going on inside thy head.
That's wild. Are you at this point now where you're not shy about getting your book or your transcript edited? I know that's a tough part of the process too. You write it down, you put so much passion into it and feel good, but then we're afraid to give it to somebody to critique it or review it or edit it. Are you beyond that
Yes.
point yet?
I think so. When I first started, I saw it as, okay, I thought I was doing well, and then I come back and it's full of red streaks. But what I did is, instead of looking at it as a bad thing, I looked at it as, okay, how can I do better next time? Why is these making, I love to learn.
Yeah.
And so the last few years have been a huge learning curve. And now I send my stuff to an editor and I get it back and I think that maybe they've missed something or something because there's not as many red streaks, but it's because I'm growing as an author. And the
Beautiful.
best way to do that is to just keep practicing and be open to learning new ways of doing things.
Yeah, open to learning. That's good. Okay,
Yeah.
so we get your book, you read a book. What do you want the readers to get out of your writing, your books, and what do you want them to listen? What do you want them to get in love with your books and what you're doing, your series?
I hope that I hope, and I have heard feedback from a lot of readers that they connect deeply with my main characters. Not just my main characters, but all of my side characters as well. They all have feelings, emotions, motivations, histories, political systems, religious beliefs, those kind of stuff. I try to weave in those, not necessarily going into details, but that helps me to create every character if I know all of their history and everything. I do weave in an adventure setting, wholesome messages, things that I've learned,
Mm.
life, I call them life lessons. But I also try to impose or, put in there the importance of finding your place of belonging, self-acceptance, accepting who you are, the importance of family and friends, and choosing choices and accepting the consequences of those.
How many characters normally is in your books, and how do you to me, if I sit down and be a writer, boy, get my characters in place, I get confused. I was like, well, okay, what did I say with this character? What did I say with this character? How does JM set your characters up, and how do you separate them to make a good story by the end? Is there a certain format, a certain way you do that?
They all live rent free in my head. And
Right.
before I even write their name, I've kind of figured out where do they come from?
Wow.
What is their
Yeah.
motivation? I love the fact that when I write my bad guys in my
Yeah.
books, they never started as bad guys. They started as, children. And then something happened in their life. And what was that pivotal point? And why did they turn that way? And that's what I'm thinking about. But all my characters live rent free in my head. So I
Beautiful.
tend to yeah, I don't tend to confuse them too much.
What's the most characters you've had in your book?
Oh gosh. If you had to count all of my side characters, because some of them are just like,
Mm.
cardboards,
Oh,
I
I
call
see.
them.
Yeah.
And cardboard cutouts. They just have to be a
Yeah.
filler. They have to be a character that you're talking to. But as far as my main characters, I think there's probably, I'd say about 10 maybe of the main
Wow.
characters who continue through the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not all appearing in every single book, and there's some that
Yeah.
come and go because they don't survive maybe, or they move on and then we don't see them for a couple novels, so we revisit them. But there's yeah I think the major characters, there's probably really 5 that are strictly throughout every book and 10 that are important but don't show up in every book.
That's outstanding. 10. Woof, that's impressive. Okay, before we get to the final comment, Ms. JM, please tell us again, where do we go after this show to learn more about you and to buy your books? What do we got?
Yeah, check out my website at jmshawauthor.com. You can read about my books. You can click on the links to find them online. They're available on Amazon. They're on Kindle. They're on Kobo, Barnes and Noble. There's links to every book there. Or there's links to find them online. I also have Facebook and Instagram at the bottom of my website, and a Goodreads link so you can see what others are saying about my books.
Beautiful. Special guest today, J.M. Shaw. In closing, personal experience into your narratives, okay? Have your ADHD, your autism, have you infused that into your writing? And has it helped you come to grips about what you do in your writing and your future? Because it said, as I was reading your bio, you said 2019 you got diagnosed with this. So you kind of get you in a better place because you kind of know what was going on, and you kind of infuse that into your writing and your books.
Abs-
And you go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a pivotal year for me, and
Yeah,
I did a lot of looking back and introspection, and accepting that I'm not broken. There's
yeah,
nothing wrong with me per se. It's just my brain functions differently, and I come to accept that. Just like my characters are learning to accept who they are. Um, my series arc where, I have my world, our time, coexisting magical realm, but there's a veil that separates us. And we can't cross it because we don't have magic, but these creatures that do have magic can cross. And Callum is born with the ability of magic, which means he can cross onto either side. But he spends the series trying to figure out who he is and where he belongs because he's too magic for here, but he's too human for there.
yeah.
And I had a reader point out to me that my entire series arc of my character trying to figure out where he belongs mirrors my own struggles in a neurotypical world with a neurodiverse mind.
Outstanding. J.M. Shaw, thank you for joining us today. You're awesome. Thank you for being
Aw.
patient before the show. You're awesome. We're definitely going to follow you. We're going to promote you and all that stuff. And come on back anytime, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. I mean, who doesn't want to talk about themselves, right?
There you go. You got it. All right.
Authors and small business owners, turn your book and/or your business into a streaming television brand. You wrote the book, you built the business. Now it's time to be seen on Roku and Amazon Fire Television. The Hollis Chapman Show helps authors and small business owners get featured on a professionally produced TV show. Appear on Roku and Amazon Fire Television streaming platforms. Build authority and credibility. Reach new audiences beyond social media. Receive in-house marketing support. This isn't just an interview. This is brand positioning. If you're serious about in 2026, let's put your brand on television. Appy now for a featured television plus podcast spotlight. Book your
J.M.
strategy
Shaw,
email today.
thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to stop now and we'll come on back anytime. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.